Good evening. Welcome to Hodomania by Benjamin Simpson. The story this evening is a travel story. It's the introduction to Walking the LA River. It was May of 2020, and like most of the world, I was sitting at home. My photography business was gone. No weddings, no red carpets, no 3 days a week at the photography school. What to do? How do I distract myself from the news? I'll do what I always do. I'll go for long walks. Due to a complicated set of circumstances, which would be extremely tedious to explain and even more tedious to read, on March 20th of 2020, I landed in the city of Canoga Park. I was alone in a new town. Not that it really mattered because there was no one to visit anyway. So I walked the streets of Canoga Park. Canoga Park is boring. It's a flat, square city with flat, square streets. Canoga Park is north of LA on the western edge of the San Fernando Valley. What was once flat fields became flat farms that is now flat suburbia. It was built for the car. Perfectly square, not a winding, ancient cow track anywhere to be seen. Within a month, I'd walked most every boulevard, road, and alleyway within 3 miles of my home. After exploring, I settled into a routine alternating between two walks. One was northwest, up a small suburban hill. At the top was a view. Not a great or exciting view, but a view. The second was south, past closed shops, an empty mall, and around vacant skyscrapers. Walking past the empty mall and skyscrapers felt like a disaster movie. The only thing missing was a newspaper blowing down the empty street. Sometimes I miss newspapers. Attached to the empty mall was a vacant 5-story car park. The stairwells became my gym. Up this set of stairs, down the next, then up and down again. There was a view at the top. Not a very exciting view, but a view. One day, when returning from the skyscraper walk, the road passed over the same concrete gully it always did. But tonight, the sun was setting behind the gully. I paused for a few minutes. Upstream of the bridge I was walking across, underneath the sunset, the concrete gully split into two. These gullies are officially rivers or streams, but really, they're just huge concrete gutters. The bottom is perfectly smooth concrete. The sides are perfectly smooth, upright concrete. There are rusty chain link fences along both edges of the gullies. Where they merge, right in front of Owens Mouth Bridge, is a concrete wedge. The perfectly smooth concrete ends to make two gullies into one. There was a tiny stream of water coming from the northern gully. As I stood there, two pieces of information connected in my head. The blue Los Angeles River sign and the name of the street, Owens Mouth. Was I at the mouth of the LA River? If it was, then a bunch of memories and ideas jumped into my head. Over the past 8 years or so, I had worked as a freelance photographer in LA. Over the past 8 years or so, I had hiked the mountains around LA and walked many of the neighborhoods. Somewhere around 2015, with the near-constant news of drought, hose bans, brown lawns, and the draining of the Owens Valley, I decided to look for water in LA and possibly photograph the results. It was more difficult than I thought to find water. There was the Pacific Ocean, but that wasn't really water in LA. And there were a few artificial lakes, but that was not natural, so it became a low priority. The only place to find natural water in LA was in the rivers. I began by hiking the rivers and the mountains surrounding LA. That was beautiful and natural and pleasant. But then I began looking for rivers in the concrete wasteland that is Los Angeles. All those concrete gullies that I had driven over and ignored. All those ditches hidden in the landscape. All those times sitting at a dead stop on the freeway, glancing at a wide ditch nearby with just a thin trickle of water. There were more river gullies than I thought. The Arroyo Seco, the Rio Hondo, the Santa Anita Wash, the San Gabriel, and of course, the LA River. So many times when I searched out these rivers, they were impossible to enter. Chain link fences, sheer sides, no trespassing signs. But after searching, I found a few places where I returned to again and again to take photographs. Under York Boulevard in Highland Park, at the Glendale Narrows, under the 134 in Pasadena, just south of Los Feliz Boulevard, and the Peck Road Park Lake in El Monte. But there was something in all of these places that I found that I was not expecting. Peace and quiet. Hidden below this chaotic city, there were these little havens of quiet solitude. Suddenly, I didn't need to drive all the way up to the mountains to clear my head. I could just sit next to the trickling water with my camera and my tripod. I did my best to capture the peacefulness and flow of the water. I don't know if I succeeded in the photography, but just sitting and taking those photographs definitely helped relax and calm me. All of those thoughts and more ran through my head as I stood and stared at the sunset over the mouth of the LA River. I checked my pocket computer. 2 streams merge. This is the official beginning of the LA River. Cool. And then a thought popped into my head. I could walk the whole of the LA River. That would give me something to do. In years past, my mind had daydreamed of rafting the Mississippi, finding the source of the Amazon, or a little closer to home, walking the whole of Sunset Boulevard. But here was the LA River, just waiting on my doorstep. Later at home, while scouring the computer for information on the river, I felt something was wrong. The mouth of the LA River. Isn't the mouth of a river where it meets the ocean? Why is the street called Owens Mouth? That doesn't make any sense. So I looked it up. National Geographic says the place where a river enters a lake, larger river, or the ocean is called its mouth. So this is not the mouth of the LA River, but the mouths of the 2 rivers that meet here to form the LA River, Bell Creek and Arroyo Calabasas. This must be the source of the LA River. No, that's not right either. The source of the LA River is the mountains around LA. So this is not the source. Semantics. I'm calling it the start of the LA River. Maybe the beginning of the LA River. So I hatched a plan to walk the entire river, starting right here in Canoga Park. But obviously I couldn't walk the whole river in one go. It's 50 miles long. How to do this? After many years of walking with my camera, I found that 4 miles is a good limit. After 4 miles of walking and photographing, my concentration falters and the quality suffers. So 4 miles is a good distance. I could not walk 4 miles down the river and take a bus back because of COVID. So the best plan is to drive, park, walk 2 miles down, 2 miles back up. This would break the river into 25 sections. That's a good plan. I can do this. So all masked up with my hand sanitizer, I walked the LA River. Thank you for listening, and have a good night.